find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is... Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot have fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
Good evening, racing fans. Hello and welcome to round number 4 of the Premier Endurance League's GT4 series. Season number 1 of the GT4s, and thus far we've been to Monza. We've been to Road Atlanta last time out, and that first round it was Catalunya who could forget all the chaos and drama that kicked the season off. But now we move back into Europe as we head our way over to Germany, home of the Porsche Experience Center, home of one of the wackiest and wildest Formula One races of years gone by, albeit the layout no longer available to us. It is the forests of the Hockenheim Ring. And yet again, we're seeing the dominance and pure raw speed of Owen Coleman and that Mercedes AMG GT4 pop to the fore. Tonight's going to be another 1 hour installment of the GT4 series. And Jimmy, it's good to see once again. We're making this a regular thing. Every 2 weeks or so, you and me sitting down on a Sunday night for us, a Sunday morning for you, and just sitting back and watching some good old-fashioned racing. Yeah, so pole position, once again, it is going to be Owen Coleman, but off alongside of him this time, it will be a Riot Sim Racing teammate. Indeed, they'll round out both of the front 2 rows. It'll be Stefan Lawrence, followed by Alan Dawson and Daniel Magri on row number 2. Darren Burgess and Nick Wood, the first of the alternate entries in 5 and 6, before it'll be Andrew Dutch. God, he was quick last time out in that GT3 car from Road Atlanta. Had a few opportunities there to Dutchy. Shock Swanepoel will be off alongside of him for SLM Motorsport. Martin Hallinan and Chris Pellet round out your top 10 before we get to Afonso Latella and Matt Carrig, albeit the next Right Sim Racing driver separated by 8 others. Trent Allen, a little bit deeper in the field than he would have liked, not necessarily his quickest outing here tonight. Ronald Long, Jacob Hughes, Mark Foster, good to see the Foz back, and that McLaren as well. Matt Beck Jimmy Middleton, and we're going to have to do a livery check-in with that car later on in the piece. Peter Baxter, Andrew Proctor, and another one of the SLM entries. Scott Bartime will be your pace car driver here this evening before we'll round out the grid with Leith McClimate and Ricky Provenzale. Short warm-up lap. I didn't know that Hockenheim had one, so I just learned something here this evening here, Jimmy. The GT4 action, it looks like the Mercedes are strong here again.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're looking strong as well. You know, they've got the front 4 locked out here with BMW, with Dean Burgess right next to him as well. But we're going to be up and running as they're coming round turn 15 here as well. Get this up and going, get this running. Let's see what these boys can do for this hour-long race here.
Safety car is going to pull off in the lane, so we're now in the hands of Owen Coleman. And the Right Sim Racing, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Mercedes on the top 4 spots. And the white, orange, and black liveries will sail on down into turn number 1. Keep your eyes a little bit further back for the first of the BMWs, which will be Darren Burgess. Just a little bit further down the field, gets a nice run off of turn 1. And Daniel Magri, after qualifying, I believe it was, sorry, no, it wasn't Daniel Magri, it was Alan Dawson, I'm thinking of, qualified 3rd, has slotted back in a 5th spot by the time they make it down to turn number 2. And the first of the McLarens, big old wiggle, by the way, for that BMW, but it's going to be Nick Wood in the first of the McLarens will be trying to push his way further forward. Shock Swanepoel is going to be off from alongside of him, and they'll settle themselves down on the first run down to the Spitzker hairpin for the first time tonight. And 1, 2, 3, 4, nose to tail, and contact made between the 2 teammates and race leaders on lap number 1. That is not how you start an hour-long reprieve.
No, it definitely isn't. And the worst thing is as well, the first rule of racing. What is the first rule of racing? Don't take out your teammate. And that, unfortunately, was near enough at one of them occasions. It looks like Jimmy Middleton's had a bit of a moment there as well. We'll check in with Jimmy's livery as he goes past the... Just no questions, really. No questions at all on that one. Alfonso Latella mixing it up in the BMW there with Martin Hallinan in front of him and as well. And he's got the Aston Martin, Trent Allen right behind him currently here once more. Jacob Hughes in the back there from the Riot Sim Racing, trying to have a nice little battle mixed in the middle once more as they come round that turn 13. Through 15 and 16 they're going to go. It's all about what's going to happen up here. Can Darren Burgess in that BMW, can he upset the Mercedes dominance up the front? We've got 58 minutes on the clock here, and Burgess is trying his hardest to get himself involved. Can Nick Wood in that McLaren as well? Can he have a go once more? It's going to be tough for all of these drivers. Hockenheim is one of them circuits here, Scotty, where they're either going to love it or they're going to hate it. Not everybody. It's like Marmite or Vegemite for you guys. It is like that situation. You know, not everybody loves it. Not everybody hates it. They're just sat there in the middle, and that is what Hockenheim is going to bring here. It's all about whether or not they're going to love or hate this circuit, because most people I know are not keen on it.
What, Marmite or this circuit?
This circuit, well, both. Both, to be honest, Scotty, both.
Wasn't Marmite a British invention that we just perfected? I thought that's how it all worked. Anyway, someone who's not loving things here tonight thus far, Peter Baxter's had a spin around 15 and 16 on that opening lap.
There's been
and
a
he will
big
try
one.
And drop back in.
There
There has been a big one.
There has been a big one. Alfonso Latella, Matt Carrick, Trent Allen, Jacob Hughes, all been involved in this as they come down now. It is looking like there's been some issues here. We'll have a look now, but you can see Alfonso Latella in that BMW in front. Oh, there was a send from the McLaren. Oh. No. Matt Carrick sent it from so far away. He nearly did it almost airmail to get there. Oh, for Matt Carrick, that was not ideal there, Scotty. He was so far back. He was never going to make it in the first place. But I think the fact that obviously poor old Alfonso Latella was just there and ended up going round.
I'm worried for Alfonso Latella as well, because that was contact to that right rear corner of that car as well, and the BMWs, one thing I have been noticing in the GT4 category, they struggle to keep the rears underneath them. Oh! Has he deployed the oil perhaps in front of his car?
Well,
instead of behind it.
Well, unfortunately for Jimmy, I think that was all on his own there. He was a little bit coming out of shape coming into 15. He looked like he just got too much. He did there, unfortunately for Jimmy Middleton. Around he goes. Nice little pirouette there from Jimmy. But yeah, back up front, Owen Coleman, Stefan Lawrence, Daniel Magri, Alan Dawson and Darren Burgess still trying to get their way here as well. It's turning into a bit of a train at the moment with the top six with Andrew Dutch right behind him. Could it be any one of these six? Absolutely. As we've seen, it's easy to spin, it's easy to make contact.
Yeah, so I'm worried. I'm worried, obviously, for Latella's right rear corner, because there was heavy contact to that corner of the car. But for Matt Carrick at the moment, he's just in limp mode. Steering damage, none. So he did get away. It's all front splitter. So he will be somewhat okay, but we'll see how that one progresses. As for Jimmy, way too many beans, I think it was in the Aston. And I don't think there's much more that can be said about that. That sort of sums it up nice and neatly. Back up at the front, though. How about this surge in terms of pace, though, from Stefan Lawrence? This is a step up from where he's been competing lately, so I'm really, really impressed with this drive, particularly raw speed out of that one. Maybe Owen Coleman finally shared a set across.
Do you reckon they would have done? Because he's coming round now. Don't get me wrong. He's run that final corner on that run down into turn one. The thing is as well, it's just a slight dab of the brakes down into turn one for these. They don't have to full on slam it. It's just a slight dab of the brakes. Get that car hooked up. Get it put in towards the hairpin, not the hairpin, towards the curb, get it done, and that's it towards the apex. So they've got to make sure they're carrying speed all the way up to that run up into turn two, because that's one of the biggest things that they can lose out on. And now they've obviously got the run down into Spitzker as well, and let's see how he's going to get on here.
I'm interested to see this one, so we'll keep half an eye on it and see whether or not he can close. I think his best opportunity's already passed him, though, Stefan Lawrence. The tyres have sort of come up to temperature now. He was a lot closer in previous laps. Not to say, look at Coleman, and look at the line that Coleman's now able to take out of that hairpin. as well. If you have a look, he was having to really open up that line because Lawrence's nose was just about down in there. So he's already looking a lot more comfortable as Owen Coleman. But it will continue to be the right Sim Racing 1, 2, 3, 4 in those Mercedes as they settle on in. Owen Coleman, by the way, just had a fastest first sector of the race. So starting to find the balance of things. I was wondering whether or not he might have flighted the inside tyre a little bit too much at turn 1. No, lots of curb. That's what you got to do. That's where the pace is.
Yeah, definitely as well. They've, you know, it's all about finding it. One of the things they did as well, there's so many tricky little spots on Hockenheim. You know, coming out of that turn 12, that's going to be tricky for them as well. If they run onto that outside curb while they're accelerating, they're going to be in trouble. And it's going to end up spinning round and they're going to do some lovely pirouettes and get themselves involved. The problem is when you've got close racing like the 4 that are behind, if the guy in front, for instance, Daniel Magri, loses it, they're all going to be with him. You know, they're not robots. They're not reaction time of a pussycat here. You know, it takes a little bit of time to get our brains thinking before we actually get involved. It looks like Provenzali and Proctor have also had a bit of a moment. Jacques Swanepoel is in the Mercedes there as well with Martin Hanlon and Nick Wood, who's in the McLaren, of course. Pellet and Swanepoel still going out side by side. It's a very Mercedes-dominant led field, and I want to pick up what Tom Weston said as well. It's mad why hardly any of the Aussies use the Porsche. The Porsche is a very quick car, and it's very dominating in the JPB GT4. So it's, you know, I do wonder if they are missing a trick, but at the same time, I suppose it's everybody's comfortable in what they're comfortable in.
Well, you said engine note of it last time out at Road Atlanta in the GT3s, I believe, and that's what you were after. I think it's much the same, particularly for the right guys. They just like the Mercedes. They really like the way it sounds. The thing about the Porsche, JP, is it's difficult to extract the pace from. Absolutely, is it quicker? It's there and thereabouts. Always, it's right on the limit. But the thing is very heavy in the front end, in the Cayman, as opposed to the GT3R entry, the 992. So the 992 is a lot lighter on the steering wheel. You don't have to really scrap for every little bit of grip and speed out of it. But then again, obviously, we know Porsche things out of that GT3. This battle pack I've been keeping half an eye on conveniently, so thank you for swapping it out. That's great minds think alike. Mark Foster made a big mistake at turn 2. The other thing about the Porsche, a little bit slower in a straight line, and that is that McLaren's biggest benefit. Phenomenal straight line speed. So we're going to have to keep half an eye on it as he gets the job done on Ronald Long. So for the Foz, he's done well. We might back here. Now he's going to be looking at a lime green milkshake McLaren right in that rear view mirror. And there's every opportunity that McLaren might be surging by on the run down to Spitzker this time by.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to have that run. He's got to dab that brakes in that McLaren, and off he's going to go once more. He looks like he got a good run down. I don't think he's going to be close enough on that run into 2, though. He's got the other 2. He's got the Porsche and the BMW battling away behind him. That might help Mark Foster there once more to be able to keep that gap away from Ronald Long and Ricky Provenzali in the BMW. But this is where he's got to get this opportunity. This is where he's got to tuck up his rear end, and now he's got to make a move. If he's going to make it, you've got to go to the inside or outside for you at the moment. He's going to have that inside run into Spitzker. Is he going to be able to hold it? Well, the question will be not if, it's how he's going to make sure he doesn't come back at him, Matt, here, because Matt's trying to cut back. He did the one thing that we've said he was going to do. He's got to try and stop the cutback, and that's not always easy when you've tightened up a hairpin like Spitzker as much, but he's managed to do it as far as, and he's now up into 13.
Yeah, so 2 things about that overtake, and you're 100% right. Watch the defense. The initial drive of the Porsche was very, very good. It was the secondary phase of the acceleration where he looked like he struggled. I think he might have kicked the traction control in there, and it might have taken something away. Now he's going to be under assault by Ronald Long. He's looking to go for the crossover. Long has managed to get through, snuck back through at the inside, so he's going to lead this one away. In the meantime, Foster ahead of them just runs a fraction wide, and here comes Provenzali in the background. He's going to try and slide down the inside at turn 12. Not quite going to present the opportunity, but it's the fight back. It's Long and back here, side by side, as they've already been for about 7 or 8 corners thus far this race. That's a battle that's not going to disappear any time, and now it's going to be Ronald Long who runs very wide through 15 and 16. Out over the sausage curb. You will not want to do that too many times here tonight. You'll struggle to keep the car underneath you.
Yeah, absolutely. The sausage curbs, as we know, They're very hit and miss, right? If you put the sausage cut between the middle of the wheels, you might survive. It's like going over a speed bump. You know, you might get put away with it. Oh, bro!
Oh!
What?
I'm lost for words. Where's that come from? He's completely he's missed his braking marker. He wanted to go late. He might have had a stuck throttle. He might have had something wrong. That looks like a hardware failure.
He just...
I'm wondering whether or not he's had a monitor or a screen freeze. Because he just kept accelerating for a little bit.
Well, we'll jump on board and see what he does.
See how he's jinked to the right? He's jinked to the right because he's recognized something's wrong and he's not going to pull the car up.
You're a little bit more... I don't really know. Honestly, on that one, I'm not sure. He did completely miss his braking point because the thing is as well, he was downshifting to try and get the car stopped, but he sent it from so far, I don't think he was ever going to get it stopped. And that's the thing for Becky there.
No, he wasn't. I agree. Yeah.
He wasn't going to make it, and I don't in a weird way, I don't get the purpose of why you're trying to make the move. Like, you know, in his head, did he think all of a sudden I was going to go and I'm going to do it? Or whatever he thought was never going to work because that was A, too far back, and B, yes, he was downshifting and yes, he was braking. So it's not like we can sit here and say he did it, was going for it intentionally, right? Because did he have a red mist or whatever? We don't know, but he was trying to get the car stopped, but yeah, that was never going to happen.
Like the amount he's missed his braking marker is and the jink on the wheel is what makes me think there's something else that's going on there.
Well,
because if he just missed his braking marker, he would have gone straight on. He wouldn't have jinked to the right. So, but anyway, yeah. But anyway, moving on. It's a mistake made by Beckett.
Yeah, either way, he did actually make it, and now he's just cost. Obviously, Foster was with him as well. Foster's now down in 15th with Leaf McClymont right behind him as well. So, unfortunately for Foz there, he's getting the thing. It looks like Provençali and Ronald Long have had a bit of a moment here as well. So, let's see what Long has done. Did he do the same thing? Or did Provençali just get it all wrong? Oh, that was a very slow in and out there from Ricky, unfortunately. But yeah, once more though, we can go back up to the front. We'll check in. Owen Coleman and Stefan Lawrence still going at it here as well, about half a second apart. Not really making great strides on each other. You know, Coleman's obviously opened up a gap. They've opened up 3 seconds to Magri behind at the moment. You know, last time out for Owen Coleman, he was on a 145, but well, it's just done a 145.15. Lawrence has just done a 144.98, so he has closed up a little bit here as well, but I don't really know how much they're going to be fighting. I think they're probably likely to be more trying to extend a gap, I think, as well. There's no need for them to fight this early on. They've still got 45 minutes to go. I think, to be honest, these two are just trying to make their way away from Daniel Magri and Alan Dawson. It looks like Nick Wood has just gone down the order a little bit. He's looks like he might have had contact with Pellet there as well. So, yeah, tough battles going on all the way through the field, but I think the front two, to be honest with you, Scotty, are just trying to get away.
And in talking about Nick Wood, he was actually off track, right as you mentioned him. So he's just rejoined there, and that's behind Ricky Provençali. So something's going on at turn 2.
Well. Oh, you fought twice. That's the problem. Chris there fought twice about what he was going to do. He almost went once, and then he kind of backed up, and then he kind of went again. And that was the problem. If you see when he initially comes out, here, he stops. No, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. Yeah, I am. And then by that point, that indecision is just a little bit too late. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a rough one because it's like trying to pull out of a junction, you know, on a busy road. You're going to go, but you're not sure if you're going to go, and then by that time somebody's at you because you know what I mean.
Twofold, because I also think Nick definitely left the door open a long time. If you just squeeze down and shut that down fractionally, it wouldn't have happened because he would have just been like, right, yep, that's not a door that's open. You know, that's the secondary psychology. Is it? See, I hate this. Everyone always says in terms of sim racing, you know, oh well, he's got there, he's tagged me. But yeah, you've opened the door fractionally. If you leave that door open, eventually somebody's just gonna barge on through, and you know, sometimes you're just gonna cover. It's not saying, you know, don't do it. Don't leave the door open. You know, if that far back, it is a long way back, but you left the door open. Did you need to? Yeah, probably not. Well, yeah, you've created a hole.
But the problem with that is when we talk about that as well, they talk about this big vortex, don't they? That vortex V that you don't leave open. And at the moment there as well, Burgess is going to make it through over Dawson. But now the problem is that slow run out, as much as you love an inside line, that slow run coming out of Spitzker on that inside is an absolute nightmare because it allows for this. Dawson's going to run the inside. Keep your foot in there, mate. You're going to have that inside line going into Mercedes. You have got it. Now it swaps the other way. So now Burgess has got the inside. So it's going to be inside, outside all the time here because Burgess is going to have the inside for the next one. If Dutch keeps his foot in, or Dawson keeps his foot in, sorry, Dawson's going to have the inside coming into turn 12. And then it's going to swap again. So for these guys to manage where they are at the moment, great job. Side-by-side racing for the last 5 corners. And there we go. It'll be settled now, and Burgess has now got to sit back behind him again and wait until later on to be able to make another opportunity. That's the problem when you go on the inside of the Spitzker. It puts you all out of sync for the next few sequence of corners. And it's a tough side-by-side section, yeah. It's a tough side-by-side section.
7 corners in a row, JP. Yeah. That was 7 corners in a row they went side-by-side. That was insane. Phenomenal driving.
Yeah, but it's very difficult. Very difficult when you try and get the inside out of Spitzker to hold it coming out because of the way that 7, 8, 9 and 10 work. You end up swapping backwards and forwards on the inside and outside. And for Dawson, all he had to do was just keep his throttle down a little bit, brake a little bit later and try and do it from there. But Chris Pellet at the moment with Jacob Hughes in this Porsche and Trent Allen are having a nice little battle here as they run up to turn 2.
Now down the inside is going to be Hughes, looking to try and take that one away. And Pellet will manage to continue to hang on in there, so they will get the drive off. And now this is where the Mercedes will start to eke a little bit of ground back out. But they're still side by side, nose to nose. The Mercedes has gained a half a car length. Now it's 3/4 of a car length. Now it's a car length as they dive down on the brakes into the Spitzker hairpin to the inside. Jacob Hughes, they both go in a fraction deep. That opens the door for Trent Allen in the background. He's going to have a go as well. That's not a hole there, Chris. That's absolutely not a hole. There was 3/4 of a car width left to the outside by Jacob Hughes. And again, shut the door properly, lads. Because if you leave a door ajar, a breeze is going to blow in. Sometimes it'll be an Aston Martin.
Yeah, they need to make definitive, defining moves here, and they're not. They're giving that half sort of action of like, yes, I'm going to defend. No, I'm not going to defend. But you've got to defend. You cannot go and do 2 things. A, do that vortex that we're talking about. And what we mean by that is they're coming down the right-hand side, for instance, going into a left-hander. They're leaving it very wide. They're coming in and they're trying to take the apex. That will allow somebody to go up the inside, and that generally, unless you see them, ends up with them making contact. And they cannot leave that door open a little bit, because as per normal, if you leave a door open, you're going to get burgled. Somebody's going to come in, take everything away from you, your TV, your sofa, and also your position on track. So they've got to be careful of making sure they're defining their move, Scotty. Close the door. You cannot do it.
Agreed. There's just been too many opportunities where it's just been left slightly ajar. Australian turn of phrase is, what, were you born in a 10? For not shutting the front door, shutting the fly screen?
Yes, my old man was, are you born in a barn? Put the wood in the hole. That's what he used to say. You're born in a barn, put the wood in the hole, mate. You're like, all right, Dad, all right, I guess you're cold. Don't you worry, I'll get you old and all that. You know what I mean? But yeah, he normally just says, what, you're born in a barn, put the wood in the hole. So there we go, that is it over here.
Good. Yeah, everyone's got a phrase, turn of phrase for it. This second battle pack's been really interesting as well. Interesting to see whether or not Burgess can continue to go with. As well as which way the tyres burned. So he's the only car inside the top, 7? It's not a Mercedes, so he's doing a phenomenal job in terms of...
Top 8, Scotty. Top 8. But
yeah,
it's just what you're comfortable with. I think that's the thing. You're going to drive what you're comfortable with, right? You know, I'm more comfortable.
What makes the best sound?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's the Mercedes. That's obvious. But I don't know if it's just what you're like me, right? I'm comfortable on a push bike. I'm definitely not going to go and put myself on a skateboard because as soon as I look at it, I just see a broken hip. You know what I mean? So they're driving what they're comfortable with. I think that's the thing, and it is very Merc dominated. You know, we've got Trent Allen in the Aston, we've got Jacob Hughes in the Porsche. They've been pretty much static as they are and very comfortable, you know what I mean, together in these cars because that's what they prefer to drive. 38 minutes on the clock, Sky. We've got Coleman, Lawrence, Magri, Dawson.
No. So with Jacob Hughes, he's not driving it because he's comfortable in it. He's driving it because then he gets to drive the livery known as the Pork Sword. That's it. That's the only reason.
Are you sure?
You think I'm joking? Yeah, 100%.
Oh.
That is the only reason he's driving the Porsche. He's a big Porsche man. Good old Jake Hughes. Likes the GT3R and loves his Porsche Cup racing.
Yeah, it definitely does it. What is going on with Latona and Pellet? They're going to be running side by side as well on their way down into Splitscare. We saw Latella get, you know, a mistake earlier on, should we say, or Carrick coming from a long way back. Well, I was trying to put it nicely because, you know, I've had a bit of a rough week this, Scotty. You know what I mean? I've had a bit of a rough week with the old stewards and everybody else. So, you know, I'm trying to put it in a polite way where I'm not going to go and offend anyone. But, yeah, but Carrick there, he hit him into a shadow realm, shall we say. Let's just put it that way. He went for an audition in Stranger Things because he was far away.
He'll own it. He'll own it straight after the race. That's Matty. He'll just hand up straight away. Yep. Bugging it up, missed a braking marker. No worries, move on. Yeah, I'm interested to see whether or not these two can close back down towards the leaders because when you look at things, Jacob Hughes is up 6 spots. And Trent Allen's up 3 from where they both started. And they both look like they're sort of relatively even on pace. Not really all that much separating them. Just the different ways they approach the corners. If you had to look at the Aston, it was very, very close to the Porsche on the entry to 15, and then sort of middle and exit blew out a little bit, but they've settled in now. Tell you what, Jacob Hughes has just taken 0.3 of a second out of Martin Hallinan, so that's going to be, you know, a good while in coming. But keep an eye on that one. That's probably going to be 10 laps away. We'll end up with these guys joining the back end of Martin Hallinan and Jacques Swanepoel.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to Sam Chapman. Sam, I got to be honest there, sir. You are not the only one. My iRacing said this started at 8. I missed the server. Well, I'm not going to lie. Me and Scotty almost missed it as well because we both had it down as an hour later. We were literally scrambling around in the green room beforehand. So you're not the only one there, bud, who missed it as well. Don't worry. I woke up, grabbed the coffee, sat at my desk, and this is it. This is me. I've been awake for about half an hour. So don't worry too much there, mate. Ray Morgan's in chat as well. He says, Owen is a nice guy. Hope he does well. Jimmy and Ricky have put on a good show. So there we go. They have done a great job. However, for Ricky, he's and there's been contact there as well. Jacob Hughes went offside of the circuit. So unfortunately for Jacob Hughes, it did look like Trent Allen was waiting. So I'm do wondering if there was a little bit of contact. Well, yeah, Trent Allen.
He's missed the braking marker.
Yeah, missed it. And now he just sits and waits for him to come back. It looks like poor old Ricky Provenzali has had a bit of a moment again. This is going down into Splitscare. I don't know if he's going to be able to... He's hooking up Splitscare to the point of where the system actually thinks he crashed here. Yeah, he's just very slow. And unfortunately, the incident system does turn around and say that he's had a bit of an incident. But, yeah, for Ricky there, he's not burying that Splitscare hairpin, Scotty.
I'm wondering whether or not that's clearing a slow, because that's the second time he's done that. Whether or not he's clearing a slowdown from the curbing at turn 1. Well, that would be just about long enough.
It's a tough one. Yeah, but he's coming down into 6, isn't he? That was into 6, which is the hairpin. So where's his slowdown coming from between turn 2, 3, and 4?
Well, it's turn 1. It's turn 1 is where he's getting it, for sure. If there's anywhere that they're going to be getting it, it'll be turn 1 and occasionally 15, 16.
So are we saying he's going from 1 all the way around to 6 with it?
Yes, he's at turn 6, he's clearing the slowdown.
Yeah. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's anybody who's behind him has got to think he's a bit slow and just goes and almost stops there. But you know, it's yeah, it's an interesting one to wait. To be honest, the way Ricky does a slow down, if he carries on, you know, driving and waits for the hairpin, that's how I do it. Well, I did drive. That was obviously a long time ago, but that's how I would do it as well. Drive Scotty to the point of where I can get to a hairpin or a slow turn. Just go a little bit slower to start bringing it back down again. So, but for these 4 cars battling here, and we've got 33 minutes on the clock, should be a nice little tidy battle here between Magri, Dawson, Burgess and Dutch. And how long can Burgess stay within this very dominated Mercedes front 8?
He's starting to fade a little bit, isn't he? He's just fading, starting to fade back from the 2 Mercedes ahead. But Dawson and Magri are running near on bumper to bumper at the moment. Stefan Lawrence has just started to fall back a fraction from Owen Coleman too. So he's out just over a second now. So Coleman's found a reserve or mistakes on subsequent laps. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but there's the last 5 lap times of Burgess there. You can see Dutch was quicker over lap 11, lap 14 and lap 15. So he was quicker there, but so he has been closing and closing and closing, and Burgess is losing a little bit of time. You can see over Dawson, he's lost on 11, 12, 14. So for Burgess, as you say, he's fading a little bit. I'm wondering if that BM is getting a little bit more roasty on his tyres at the moment, because he doesn't look like he's being able to keep pace with Magri and Dawson. So that's a bit of a shame for Burgess, because we got all excited when there was a BMW up there. You know, we got all like, yay, come on BMW. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just looking like he's dropping back a little bit. And obviously on your screen, guys, they're going to look close, and you're probably going to sit there thinking, what are we actually talking about? Well, there are opening up of gaps at certain points of the circuit over Burgess, and that's what we're on about here as well. We're not going blind. Trust me, I wear glasses for a living. You know, so that's why they're just dropping back a little bit, isn't he? And it's going to be tough for Burgess to try and keep hold of them, I think. He's sat in the middle of the 3, so he should be all right. But it's that tough option that we talk about with that middle car, Scotty, is do you look to attack or do you look to defend? Because if you look to attack and get it wrong, the guy behind's going to get you. If you look to defend and you get it wrong, the guy behind's still going to get you, and the front one gets away. So it's a very swings and roundabout situation for Burgess in the middle.
Well, he's closed up again, so obviously a mistake. Excuse me. For Alan Dawson somewhere on that most recent lap. This actually could present a really, really good opportunity with the double toe. He's right there as Burgess, so if he's going to get it, this might end up being the lap. But just having half a look as well, first round of pit stops have just sort of started, which is just fractionally early on the half-hour mark. Jimmy Middleton spent a very long time in pit lane. May have been a speeding on pit lane entry, may have just been a very long stop. Leith McClimate's the other driver who's pit thus far. Leith took a shorter stop, but it looks to be that Leith is taking the 2-stop strategy because he pit very early on.
Yeah. He did, but I am also wondering, there was a moment for Leith McClimate, so I'm wondering if there was damage on that car.
Forced, yeah.
So it might have been a bit of a forced pit stop here. This is what he got up to. So I'm wondering for Leith in that BMW, whether or not, is that Latella behind him? I think that is Latella, yeah. And I'm wondering if there was a little bit of an issue, because he's very slow. He looks very sluggish, so I don't know if he got caught up in something a little bit earlier on or what the situation was, but he was forced to pit. But that was back on lap 11, when now that was 6 laps ago. So for, what's that, probably about 10-15 minutes ago. So he did pit very, very early. Everybody else starting to come in now. Is Burgess going to take it long? He is. But the thing for Darren Burgess, as they say here, he's got to have a nailed in lap. This has got to be his quali lap. This has got to be his best of the best here to make sure he can capitalise on this overcut.
Okay, so I can confirm, just gone back, there was an issue for Leith McClimate, and it was contact with a rejoining Ronald Long on lap 10. So there was damage to the front of that BMW, but I think his temperatures might have been starting to climb. It was quite hefty front grille damage. So anyway, either way, I like this call here from Daniel Burgess. He's not pitting with everyone else. This gives him a little bit of free air. Crack on. If he's going to get an undercut, well, this one's become the overcut. Everyone else is going to be in the mess of the pit lane. He's going to have less fuel to add by the look of this as well. This is going to present a nice opportunity here And it's got to be a quick lap. It has got to be a very, very quick lap. And he needs to absolutely nail every sector on this lap and have a good attack at that pit lane entry. Pit stop time starting to come in. And Stefan Lawrence has jumped Owen Coleman, by the way, by 2 seconds. So there was some fuel saving going on there for Stefan Lawrence. That's Owen Coleman. And as the shot pans around, that is Stefan Lawrence in the distance.
The thing is, he was behind him from pretty much the beginning of the race, right? So there must have been something going on there as well, and there must have been fuel saving. I doubt a man of Stefan Lawrence's caliber would not have been fuel saving, right? That anybody who would have been behind Owen Coleman for that long should have and would have and could have and possibly definitely should have been fuel saving. So we'll see how that one works out. Burgess is in the pit lane now as these guys are going around Mercedes. Don't forget, he is trying to come out and trying to put himself the cat amongst the pigeons here. Ronald Long is up there, guys, but he has not pitted at the moment. So Ronald Long is kind of out of position. So is Andrew Proctor. So they're a little bit out of where they should be. They haven't pitted at the moment as these guys come round into turn 12. Burgess is still sat there at this moment in time, Scotty. He's still not moving, and the leader's around 14 and 15.
I'll tell you what, he's wringing the neck out of that BMW waiting to be released from the fuel being added too. So Nick Wood will come in and immediately behind him, and that's the two other cars. It'll be Long and Proctor as they make their way in. Lawrence has gone through. Coleman's gone
Burgess
through.
is out.
Burgess is going to rejoin in third place. There's 2 seconds back. It closes dramatically. Here come the two Mercedes. For Daniel Burgess has broken up this Mercedes top 4. It now becomes a Mercedes top 2, BMW to P3.
Yeah, Burgess there pulled a bit of a masterstroke. He took it long after the pit stops as well. We saw that one. And now Magri and Dawson have now got a decision to make from this Riot Sim Racing. Do they sit there and fight, or do they go after Darren Burgess? Burgess at the moment, he's done it. He's done what he needed to do. He took it long. He had a great in-lap. He had a great pit entry. And now he has come and reaping the rewards and is sitting in third place. But look behind. They can't be doing that. You've got to make a decision, boys. Decide what you're going to do. You're probably in the same voice chat. Talk about it and say, look, are we going to go after him or are we going to fight? Because if we fight, Burgess is going to open up that gap even more.
Well, that was unforced. Daniel Magri went deep on his way into the Spitzker hairpin, so that was not intentional for those two guys to be popping out the other side, and that has changed the complexion of their battle. And the gap that moments ago was only about 1.6 seconds for Daniel Magri has now ballooned out over 2 seconds. So that cost them a fair chunk of time. The other thing to consider here is that I did notice Stefan Lawrence on that outlap weaving. So he was desperately trying to get some tire temperature, tire pressure. And I think it's fronts he's taken. I don't think it's lefts. I think it's fronts tires that he's taken at the pit stop. Daniel Magri's in another huge moment. So maybe he's taken left-hand side tires and that he's him just struggling. And this is going to present an opportunity for Alan Dawson. He'll take it with both hands down into turn number 1. Don't regularly see a move, and that's why it takes a mistake for that to pop up and become an opportunity.
You cannot, from Magri's perspective, A, he cannot keep making mistakes, and B, if he is still doing them, you've got to let him through. Let Dawson go and get on with it. You're obviously struggling a little bit after your pit stop. Just let him get away and go for it here as well and see if he can do the job getting hold of Burgess, because the last thing these two guys want to do is get into the clutches of Dutch, and that's the worst thing for them, because the nice little comfy fight that they've had becomes a freeway battle, and now you can see how much Dutch has closed up on them. This could be a freeway fight here, and that is only going to do this man in that BMW an absolute world of good. That 2.5 seconds he has got is going to be more and more and more as Magri, Dutch and Dawson start getting towards each other and having a bit of a scrap there. Chris Pellet further down, mind you, he's going at it with Mark Foster, and he's just about to make a move down into Spitzker.
Yeah, so he's going to have a crack here, gets a nice simple run off of turn 3, and we'll get the job done. down the inside. Starting to have a look up and down the field, by the way, JP. Pit stop times, wildly different.
Yeah.
So we've got a few different strategies. I reckon there's a few guys here that haven't taken tyres, and there's a few that have. So my transit times that I'm looking at the moment for Stefan Lawrence is 47 seconds. Now, remember, he undercut. He did gain 2 seconds when he came out, and there was at least 1 cold tyre on that car. Couldn't confirm if it's 2, might only be 1. For Owen Coleman, 49 seconds end-to-end. So there's 2 seconds gained. It was in the pit lane. It was 2 seconds. It's about the margin we went for. I don't know whether or not Coleman took tyres. He may have taken tyres, but he didn't seem like he was struggling as much on the cold tyres. Burgess, 45 seconds end-to-end. So gained 4 seconds to Owen Coleman, 2 seconds to Stefan Lawrence. Most of the drivers appear to be about that 47-second range. Andrew Dutch, 48 seconds. He was a second longer in the pit lane as well. So that's thrown a cut amongst the pitches.
Yeah. Burgess knew he had to try something. And if he's gone and nailed every part of that pit stop cycle, the pit stop cycle just isn't going into the pits and sitting in the box. It's making sure you don't lose time on your entry, making sure you hit your pit box, making sure you don't get a speeding penalty, making sure that you can get out as fast as you possibly can, and not nailing the entry as well. And Burgess, at that moment of time, at that specific moment of time on the racetrack, he did all of it. He nailed his in-lap, he nailed his entry, he nailed his pit box, and he nailed his exit. And that is what the reward you get from doing that. And that's why sometimes practicing pit entry, Scotty, that not everybody does, is important, especially at a circuit like at Hockenheim as well, where it comes off that last corner.
Well, stop talking about him for a moment, because all of a sudden, Owen Coleman's ranged right up on Stefan Lawrence. So if you were thinking that this lead battle might be for 2, if these guys squabble, it will become a 3-way fight, because Owen showed the nose as they got down into the hairpin at turn 12 and come back into the final section of the lap. He did have a go, and Stefan Lawrence covered it. So now there is going to be 2.5 seconds between our front pack and Darren Burgess. So Burgess isn't out of things. But remember, if he hasn't taken tyres, and I didn't see that car go up on the jacks from Darren Burgess, it could be an ailing BMW at the last part of the race. I'm really, really curious to have a chat to these guys at the end. I wonder whether or not it's left side tyres, whether or not it's front tyres, or whether or not it's rear tyres. If you're going to take 2 tyres, which 2? It's so loaded on that left-hand side around here, JP.
Would you know? The general rule is obviously, you know, under an hour, you don't generally take tyres, right? You know, under that hour mark, you wouldn't take tyres, because I don't think the tyre deg within that period of time would be significant enough for you to take tyres. No, it's not major. It's not major enough, Scotty. I think that's the thing. You know, we're talking about when we go into a whole tyre model situation here as well. At the end of the day, the wear isn't that major enough to make you change for under an hour. So I'd be surprised if I would be physically surprised if anybody took it. I think that's the thing. I think if anybody took tyres, I would be very, very shocked. But as you say, due to the variances in pit lane stop times, we got 30 seconds, 29, 32, 37. There's a possibility somebody may have, but I don't get why they would for only an hour race, because it normally isn't needed.
It depends. So definitely Catalunya, 2 tyres was absolutely the right call. 4 tyres was not. And I think there it was also left-hand side tyres was probably the best way to go, but it was a risk. Magri has definitely taken tyres. That much we can be sure of. And the other thing is, as this run has gone on, Burgess is starting to come back to the 2 Mercedes behind him. So he got out, initially got out to about 2.6, 2.8, 3 seconds in that range, now down to 2 seconds. So that pack and that battle's starting to come down. If that's the problem, well, he's got 20 minutes. This is going to feel like an eternity. 20 minutes drawn out? What do you reckon? 3 hours is going to feel like to Darren Burgess?
Yeah, absolutely. I can guarantee when you're sat at home watching your favourite TV programme, 20 minutes ain't very long. But when you're holding on to a 3rd position, when you're holding on to a podium, that 20 minutes is going to seem like an absolute lifetime. He is going to be trying to clock off them laps as quickly as possible. The problem is like anything, the more you try and click off faster, the mistakes come in, and then it starts bringing you back, and then you have a moment of panic, and then you end up sitting there going, oh no, they're coming, and then it all goes wrong, and then you make one mistake, they're right up on the back of you, and then you're sitting there going, because it's the mentality, isn't it, Scotty? You're trying to get away, you're trying to hold on to a gap, and then you start taking everything a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster, and a little bit faster, and that ends up causing people a problem. And unfortunately, hopefully for Burgess, he will settle down though, Scotty.
Yeah, well, Magri's dropped, taken another half second. Sorry, Dawson, my apologies. Dawson's taken about another half second out of Burgess on the current lap. So he's in strife, but he got track position. With track position, you can do something about it. He was always going to finish behind those guys. Well, have a crack. Don't hate it. And the other key factor as well, just had a quick look at peak lap times between these guys. Burgess, 1:45.045, fastest lap of the day. Fastest lap of the day for Alan Dawson, 1:45.060. So if you wanted to, this isn't an apples and oranges conversation. This is an apples and apples conversation. Yeah. Even though they're different manufacturers, it's a really, really good opportunity to examine the two cars and the two strategies under a microscope, because you've got two drivers effectively running the same times.
Yeah, now you can see on the bottom of your screen there is the lap history between Burgess and Dawson. Dawson, as you can see, has been quicker over 20, 21, 22 and 23. We'll keep an eye on that as they come running down now into the hairpin. Look, yeah, he's trying as well. And Burgess probably could really do with Dutch getting involved. Try and slow him up a little bit, because his times are coming down, and they're coming down quickly. He is the injured, the limping, the damaged gazelle, and you've got the lion, and the lions behind him in Dawson, Magri and Dutch closing him down. It's now whether or not he's going to get away and almost that break to freedom, or is he going to become the lion's lunch and end up further back. That's the problem for Burgess at the moment. He's got to try. I don't know what he could try. That is not going to help, Scotty.
No, I think he's those front tyres are absolutely past their prime. Keeping half an eye deeper in the pack as well. I think you flicked to it a moment ago. Martin Hallinen's about 2 seconds up the road from Nick Wood, and Jacob Hughes, you did cover that one with the camera work quite well, right on the rear bumper of Nick Wood, but I don't think there's much developing in that battle at the moment. Wood and Hughes appear to be like for like as well in terms of their lap times, so I think in terms of things, probably keeping our eyes where they are at the moment is going to yield the best results.
Scotty, Burgess lost 6 temps. He is injured. He is limping here for Burgess. He is going to be lion food, I'm afraid. And that, for Burgess, is a big old mistake. He did all the hard work earlier. He did what he needed to do. He got out in front, but that BMW is just falling away from Dawson here as well. Leave McClyman and Andrew Proctor further down. They're mixing it up at the moment. So we'll see here the two BMWs were going side by side 1 second ago. And now he's got to manage to hold it. And that for Andrew Proctor.
Alan Dawson literally got within millimeters of Burgess's rear bumper as they got to spit scare. So he is there, and he is resurgent. And, just looking at the attitude of the 18 entry, it's front tires. That's where he's really struggling, because it's understeer everywhere. It's not oversteer. It's not like he's struggling to get the rear, can't get back to the throttle. Well, he can't get back to the throttle because the front end's just not planted. So that's what he's struggling with. Look at the wheel application, right? He's just willing the thing to turn in, and there's nothing there. There's nothing on offer for him. Yeah,
he's going to be struggling to get to the end there, I think. Struggling to hold on to that third position anyway. As you can see, the two leaders just go round the right-hand side of your screens there as well. So get it in. Is he overdriving that, Scotty? Is that the problem? Is that why he's got so much understeer? Is he just overdriving the fact that he's trying to take things a little bit faster, and that's what's causing him the problem?
I don't know. I mean, the other animal reference I was about to give you was sometimes maybe you play a little bit dead, play sick. Maybe the lions won't come down and pick you off. That's going to be maybe his best opportunity. And when he hit the sick animals, for Darren Burgess, he's got to get every little bit of drive. He's got to cover the inside. He cannot afford to open up the inside here. If he does, he is going to be food for the fish. Look at him, covering the middle of the road. He's not going to give Alan Dawson the right-hand side of the road. Dawson's going to come out to the left. This will be a change for the podium if they're not careful. Pinches him fractionally in, and Dawson opens it up. Not too deep. Parks it on the apex now for Darren Burgess. and does get drive up. Now he's going to back all of these guys up. And if he can defend at the Spitzker hairpin each and every lap and get drive off, he may be okay.
No.
He just may get away with this one.
Oh, mate, you are asking so much here. If Burgess isn't coming off this 4 stone lighter because he's lost so much sweat, I would be very, very surprised. You've got to plant it on the other side. Take the other side of the circuit. Make him think about what you're going to do. Put that car in the middle. Put it on the edge. Put it somewhere where he's got to think about what is going to happen. What has Dawson got to think about here as well? And for Burgess, he cannot do that. But look at what we said about Scotty. You leave the door open a little bit, you're going to have a nose up there. You know what I mean? It's just ludicrous. You cannot do that. You've got to make sure that that door is either shut or it's open. You cannot do both. You've got to say to them, it's closed. Go away. You're not coming through. And for Burgess, if he doesn't keep doing that every single lap, and if he leaves it open that one little bit, Scotty, Dawson's going to be up there.
I think the key here is that Dawson's got to be close enough when they come off of Spitzker. I actually don't think his best opportunity is Spitzker. If you have a look at how bad this BMW is driving at the moment, this will be it. This will be the move. Oh, he's propped him. He's absolutely done him at the apex. Brilliant driving from Daniel Burgess. He's propped him up a little bit at the apex. Dawson couldn't pick up the throttle. Couldn't pick up the throttle to go around him. Now this will present an opportunity. Dutch has fallen just a fraction off the back end. So if he can hold on to this when they get out of Spitzker, for me, Dawson's going to find it as they come through the Mercedes Arena section or around 12 or 15. For my liking, if he can prop it up here and Dawson knows he's going to, force him into an error somewhere else and just send it down the inside because there'll be no response from Burgess. Burgess can respond at Spitzker. He's got the ability to turn that thing, stop it. The BMWs look okay through the Spitzker hairpin, whereas the other cars are struggling for a little bit of rotation. So we've got to find it somewhere else. You can't send it in the premium opportunity on the lap because everyone can predict that. You got to find somewhere else.
No, he's going to have to. I think, to be honest, he's going to have a better opportunity down into 12 here. The way Burgess runs that BMW wide, I would, for Coleman, I would make 12 my priority. Look, there you go again. It's wide open. He's running, he's going out.
He's got to be closer.
Yeah, and the problem is for Burgess, he's going out and he's coming across the apex. And that alone gives you that V that we've been talking about. It's got to go. For Burgess, he's got to get on his way. He's got to defend. He's going to have to defend like an absolute trooper to hold these guys back because I would set him up. If I was Dawson, 12 is my best bet. I wouldn't even worry about Spitzker. Sit behind him. If he makes a mistake, I'll go for it. But other than that, I would look at playing him in 12 because he leaves the door open, Burgess.
Yeah, it does. And the key to setting all of this up and making it happen is that you've got to be on that rear bumper the entirety of the lap, right? So if you miss it coming off a Spitzker, then your lap's over. If you miss it coming off of turn 10 and heading down into 11, you've got to be right there at 11. If you're right there at 11, the opportunity will present itself. It'll become an overtaking opportunity. What's happened though for now? For Daniel Magri, though, is that he's got rubber. Remember, he took fresh tyres. He was struggling with the cold tyres. So now, with the fresher rubber, maybe it's Daniel Magri's. He's heated those tyres up. He dropped back one spot underneath the cold tyre warm-up phase. Now he's got that spot back, and he's going to have a crack at Burgess now. Because if this is a driver with a little bit of fresher rubber, well, that makes the task all that more difficult for Burgess.
Yeah, it definitely does. And now for Magri, this is it. Get this hooked up. Watch. Get this hooked up. Get it. Go, 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 go. Because Burgess leaves the door open. He needs to be tighter on turn 12. For Burgess's point of view here, for Darren Burgess, he needs to be tighter. Yeah, but he's not. He's not. Look, there's the door. There's the door. There's the gap. I don't know why I'm tapping my screen because none of you can actually see that, but you know what I mean?
I can feel it.
You can feel it.
I can feel it because I'm doing the same thing. I'm just about doing the same thing. I'm sitting here, I'm gesturing at my screen. There's no webcam. Oh, there's a car off down here. Oh, is that Owen Coleman? That's Owen Coleman. That is Owen Coleman facing in the wrong direction. So something's happened between him and Stefan Lawrence. Has he tripped over this sausage curb? I get the feeling he has.
Yeah, he's going to run wide. There we go. He's put him all out of shape.
Sausage curb.
Yeah, the sausage curb. Did you see his rear right? His rear no, hold on. Get it right, James. Rear left here as well. Watch his from the back side of his car. His rear left here. You get a good view of it. There it is.
By the way.
And away it goes, unfortunately, there as well. For Magri, Burgess is now in second, but he's still got Magri attacking him as we're going down into Spitskep for the last 9 minutes here. If SLM, if you are in YouTube chat, get hold of Burgess and tell him to lock up turn 12, because I would be setting him up here for a massive fall in 12 if I was any one of these riots.
Look at this. Look at the run, though. He crisscrossed him this time. Now the drive's pretty even, but now you can harass him. If you can get him offline down here at turn 8, so they come through the kink here at 7, and now he's forced him to cover over at turn 8. This is how you set up the move, so that you won't get the move done here. It's, again, another crisscross. Now he's a long way back. The car's not pointed. A lot of rotation here, so you're going to be closer. And he's going to run it all the way out. Oh, he's using every little bit of road. So Burgess has done well. He was offline. He was out of momentum. He was out of sequence. But Magri looks more... He's close. He's coming. He's absolutely coming. I've got to cover it if I'm Darren Burgess. He doesn't.
Again. He's getting away with this. He's like a bank robber who's going around robbing banks at the moment, and the police can't get near him. Magri cannot get near Burgess in that 12. It is all about turn 12. That's for me. Don't worry about the rest of the lap. He doesn't cover off. He has to go and make that rotation, because as we know on a banking, the way the banking works, you can take faster pace the wider you go, right? And that isn't just me making stuff up. Well, trust me, watch NASCAR. It is fully true. The higher you go, the more speed you can carry, and that's the problem. Burgess has not got that rotation in that front end. He needs to use that brief amount of banking that he has got to basically get the rotation of that BMW. The problem is they're not making note of what he's doing, and he's done it every time for the last 5 minutes. You know, don't worry. Different. Yeah, don't worry about this.
I agree with you, JP, but look, it's Magri now and it's not Dawson. If this was still Dawson, he's forcing wide, he's deep, he's very, very deep. Oh, now they're alongside. Now the door will open, but the drive from Burgess, he's got the nose ahead, he's cleared him, and they're back to single file. The nose is going to stay in here for Daniel Magri. There's a slight lift at the kick. They're side by side at 8, round the outside from Daniel Magri. He's going to pinch him. Now he's going to be on the inside when they get to 10. Here's the kick. Now it's in a 10. He leaves him the room because he's got the rubber, he's got the grip. They made contact. They made contact, and around goes Magri.
Oh, they made contact. No! Now it's all on Dawson again. But Dawson's got the worry of Dutch behind him. 6.5 minutes to go. Oh, no.
And now it's back to that clock. Now time is running out. Now there's pressure on, but it's on the offensive parties, not the defensive party in this one.
Oh, for Magri, that was just... too many beans, I think. It really was too many beans for Daniel Magri. We'll have a quick look before Dawson gets there as well. You can see him running side by side here, and I think this is the thing. As he coming out, he's already hit the bit. I can't really see whether or not there was contact. Yeah.
There was contact. It was the slightest little bit of contact, but with these cars, it just takes the side force off the tyre.
So he gets him. Oh, yep. Burgess gave him room though, Scotty. You can't.
Well,
no. Step outside, Scotty. Step outside. He gave him room. Look, Burgess runs out wide. He's almost out of the 8. He's well away. Scotty, if you can't see that, I will give you my specs.
What? A different angle.
Yeah. How much more? You can see from a chopper. Look.
No. This angle does show it a lot better than the angles I saw the first time by. I agree with you now.
Oh, okay.
We got there.
Good. Oh, blimey. I'm glad we got there. Oh, Scott, it's too early for this. Sunday morning here as well in the UK. Right, Dawson's now got to go at Burgess again, right? And if Burgess hasn't still picked up that he's leaving that door open at 12, well, come on.
Yeah, he's recovered. He's responded.
But he's still leaving the door open.
Not as much. He was a fraction tight at that time. So I reckon whether or not he's practicing, he's priming it up.
Or whether or not SLM are in voice chat and have listened to what we've said and and now got to tighten it up. That's what I would do personally. I would set Burgess up here all the way. 4.5 minutes remaining here. Stefan Lawrence out in front by 8.5 seconds. You saw Coleman hit the sausage curb coming out of 15. That set him loose, and unfortunately went down now as well. For Coleman, is now in 5th place. We saw what happened to Magri. We saw what happened to that one as well. We watched it a couple of times there. Finally got to agreement that me and Scotty actually did agree on the fact there as well. But it took us a while, but we got there. So let's see how it goes. Can Darren hold on? That's the problem. Look, that netcode. I'll give over Tom Weston. He was not. There was contact from the front of that Merc to the back end of that BM.
You're right, Tom. Absolute netcode. There was 1.5 miles of netcode in it. I don't know how we missed it the first time.
Are you joking?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Give over. Don't give Tim Weston the credit here. He doesn't need it. He speaks to me enough during the day, bless him. He rings me at times. I'm like, Scott, I'm like, Tom, what? And he's like, you awake, mate? I was like, I am now. You know what I mean? Oh, he got it wrong, Dawson. Come on, Dutch. This is Dutch's opportunity. There you go. Now can Andrew Dutch realise what Darren Burgess is doing? They are running out of time. They have not got a lot. And at the moment for Burgess, he has opened up nearly a second gap. So fair play. I tell you what, if Darren makes it this one, well, I think that interview at the end of this guy is going to be very, very interesting. Because, yeah, he's defended and defended and defended harder than a Jose Mourinho football team, I'm not going to lie. So for him to basically get this second position, it would be fully deserved. And if he hasn't lost about 3 stone in weight in sweat there, I would be also very surprised on that one.
Well, I can give you an update a little bit deeper in the pack as well. Nick Wood has gotten by Martin Hallinan. He's up to 7th place. And literally, as I talked about Martin Hallinan, the rear end of his car's gone around in 16. And sausage curb it was that triggered that one as well. So it's literally, as I said the word Martin Hallinan, the rear end of that car came out from underneath him.
Yeah, but look. Did we see that anywhere else today?
Sausage curb? Yeah, we've seen that.
With Owen Coleman.
I've seen that part before.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Foster's had an incident as well. Foster has an incident. They're not quite close enough at the moment here, guys, so we will pick up on what Mark Foster did. Whoa! That was a very early entry into that corner.
Yeah, the curb can unsettle the cars, particularly McLaren.
Yeah, but he was very, very early. Look, he didn't.
Grass.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what he was expecting there from Mark Foster. There was grass there as well. Now Dutch and Burgess are still going at it. And I think they're going to be near enough on the final lap. I think where's the leader? I think we're going to... No, this will be the final lap. I've got a funny feeling from Stephen Lawrence's point of Stephen Lawrence, it is going to be waving. Barney is waving there as well. The strongest right arm in iRacing is waving frantically. I wish I had his fitness regime, because I cannot wave my arm for that amount of time that Barney does it. But Burgess, Dutch and Dawson. Go on.
Key factor on this one is that Dutch is much stronger at turn 11 to set it up for turn 12 than either of the two Wrights and racing cars. But if they're going to fight like this, well, that sign seals and delivers it. And it's going to be down the outside for Alan Dawson, a little bit in deep. It manages to get the car parked at the apex with 1 lap left to run. There was 16 corners at the start of the lap. Now we can put a line through 4 of them. There's 12. They get to the Parabolica. Burgess has got that nose out in front. Now the rear bumper of Andrew Dutch is going to get harassed. Alan Dawson wants a podium. He wants to come and have a chat to us post-race, and that means that Andrew Dutch is going to have to defend. Darren Burgess takes a look at his rearview mirror, and he's ecstatic about it, but now he's fractionally missed the apex. Phenomenal drive now for Dawson as they come off of Spitzker. Turn 6. There's a line through that one as well. It's now done. If you're going to get it done on Darren Burgess, it's going to be here. Maybe it's at 8. Maybe it's at 11. Maybe it's at 12. But now for Dawson, he got there at 8. He went the long way round. There was no room there. Back to the left. Back to the right. There's only going to be 6 more corners to run in this one. And for the first time tonight, Darren Burgess has got someone maybe close enough at 11. They'll come through 11. They come back to the right. Has he carried enough momentum? He's going to have to cover it. He won't leave the door open this time. He doesn't. He doesn't. He closes it up. He runs wide in the middle of the corner. Here comes Dutch. He gets the run to the inside. They'll go side by side through the S's in the final time. place. That was the difference between Darren Burgess and Alan Dawson, and that was a cracking GT4 run to the line.
He held it as well. Dutch cut him back. We can have another quick look here as well. But boy, oh boy, you can see it. You can see it. He let Burgess go. Dutch took the cut back underneath. He sent it on the inside. Burgess had nowhere to go. The problem is he put him under pressure from Dawson behind. You can see as they're coming down to the line, it is literally noses that they are out in front. That, well, fair play to Burgess. He didn't quite get the second, but he got the podium. And I think we can give him props for that one, Scotty, because he did do a good job. And he did spend the last 15 to 18 minutes under attack there as well.
Man, he got lucky, though. Those guys behind him, they just kept wanting to just squabble with each other instead of seeing if one could get through. If one of them could get through on him, they all would have got through on him. But they didn't get that opportunity.
No, that's what happens when you spend too much time fighting. It's almost like hyenas scrapping over the scraps, you know what I mean? And that unfortunately, that's what they were trying to do, rather than realising that actually if we get closer to him here, we could end up, you know, both getting through. And that's the problem, is they didn't do that, and they ended up basically in the scrap. That's Pete Baxter. I didn't even realise Pete was on track today. He's gone about his business down in 90. Oh, all right, Pete.
He's not had a nice night. Probably don't talk to him about Pete Baxter all that much.
No,
an incident on lap one.
You know, look, we got to have a chinwag. SLM has said Darren hasn't got a mic, so can we talk to P4? No. I didn't want to.
Should be Dawson.
We wanted to talk to Darren, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I agree.
We did. We wanted to talk and congrats and you know, have a chat and all that.
Mental.
Oh, well.
Mental.
Go and get who you
needs
want.
Coffee?
I've got coffee already. My wife brought me in one while I was broadcasting. So, but there are the final results for you, Scotty.
My word. Stefan Lawrence ends up 10 seconds out in front. A nice, easy race for him. For everyone else, it was just an out-and-out absolute dogfight with Andrew Dutch getting home P2, Darren Burgess in P3, Dawson 4th, Coleman 5th, unfortunately bounced off a sausage curb and lost the rear end of that Mercedes. That is an un-Owen Coleman-like mistake. Keep an eye on that one as it progresses through the season. Daniel Magri, Nick Wood, Jacob Hughes, Shock Swanepoel, and Afonso Latella after that early on incident will be all the way down in the top 10. Martin Hallinan, Ricky Provenzale, and Chris Pellett before the Foz and Leith McClimate in the top 15. Andrew Proctor, Matt Bakir, and Ronald Long. I believe those were all the cars on the lead lap. Yep, they were. Pete Baxter, the first car off the lead lap. Jimmy Middleton and Trent Allen, all of the finishes. Matt Carrick didn't finish, only completed, 19 laps, unfortunately, for Matt Carrick.
Yeah, well, that was obviously contact with Latella at the same time. You know, as we saw, and I guess Carrick must have had another few moments after that as well. SLM put, can Jacques talk on his behalf? Well, I don't see a problem with it personally. Send Jack in. Send him down here. Just get him to mute while we're having this little chinwag and this little confab between me and Scotty here in the morning or in the evening, depending on where you are in the world, or the afternoon. I'd like to point out as well, Stefan Mellis also missed a session due to time confusion. So, you know, that's about 4 of us there, Scotty, that almost missed this morning. So I'm not quite sure where that come from. Have you guys gone forward or anything?
A couple of weeks ago, but that's anyway.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But for the meantime, we've got Dutchy in with us, and Dutchy, you picked off a few spots in the last 5 laps. You ended up with 2 of them, well, 3 of them actually, because Coleman went around as a part of that, brother. That was absurd on those dying stages.
Oh, mate, that was awesome. That whole race, I'm just sitting behind those boys and just biding my time. And that first stint, I was just trying to save a bit of fuel. And, I thought, you know, if I can at least keep in the tow, because it is obviously a heavily, you know, tow-dependent track, I thought I'll save it for the last 10 minutes and really give it a crack. And, yeah, those last few corners with Darren, that was awesome racing.
Mate, the switchback through 15 and 6. I haven't seen an overtake done there without a mistake in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
the
mate.
Mindset to set that up, the clarity. You had to think about that, and you had to force the mistake, and you got it.
I did, mate. My brain was absolutely bloody hurting. I was playing the opportunity. I think it's turn 8 into that hairpin at the stadium section, and I got up the inside, and I thought, all right, I can set this up where he's going to go too deep under brakes into that second last turn, and I thought, well, bloody hell, I'm really going to have to hit the anchors for the switchback, and yeah, I was just lucky at work, mate.
In terms of things like the whole night long, obviously there was a big train there of 4 cars. Post pit stop, you had the longest pit stop of the night. So you dropped back off the pack, but a lot of squabbling there presented an opportunity, man. And you've just got to keep banging those times out. You've got to keep yourself relevant to the rest of the pack. Was that a 4-tire stop for you, or?
No, it was a 3-tire stop. I think
Okay.
I just miscalculated my fuel, like how much I was actually taking on for the end of the race. I think I ended up with, an extra probably 4 minutes of fuel or something like that. So I probably, buggered myself a bit in the fuel department, because in practice I'd done a run on how many tyres I could take before fuel was done, and 3 was the limit for me, so I took the 3. But yeah, I think I just stuffed up on the fuel.
What was the tyre you didn't take there? Because obviously left side's quite loaded, so it was either right front or right rear.
Actually stuffed up. I took everything bar left rear. So I was meant to not take the right rear.
Yeah, took the wrong one.
But apparently I've had a night of dyslexia, and yeah, I took the wrong one. But yeah, I'll tell you what, mate, she was pretty bad handling for the first few laps, to be honest. It was, it'd slide on me, I'd feel it go, and then all of a sudden having that left rear that was well heated, it'd snap on me. So I was a little bit cautious, and I knew the boys up front were going to be squabbling over position, so I didn't stress too much.
Mate, in terms of things, obviously a really, really good result previous time out at Road Atlanta as well. So that's 2 second places in a row. Things are starting to string together for you. It looks like your skill set suits the GT4s a little bit better. You just look a little bit at sea, perhaps in the GT3, just not able to wrestle the raw pace out of it. Do you think it suits your driving style a little bit better?
Oh, mate, my skill set's pretty much slim to none, so I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm actually half decent at something. So no, I've always liked the GT4s. I went through a period there where I didn't like them. Preferred the GT3s more, but yeah, no, I just feel settled in these GT4s. So they're a great car to drive, very grippy. Yeah, they seem to be working well for me.
Mate, phenomenal driving, and look, I'll give you a hint. If you go and jump in a NASCAR, NASCAR is actually easy to be slightly talented at because there's less people with talent. So maybe go do some practice.
I do agree with that one. I'm not going to lie, I agree on that one.
Particularly in Australia. Congratulations tonight, mate. Who are the sponsors make it possible for you?
Mate, the boys at Grindtech Flooring, Next Gen Physio, Powered Electrical and Data. It's probably a fair few boys that I've forgotten, but yeah, off the top of my head, they're the main sponsors. So thanks to those boys.
Mate, congratulations. Another cracking race. Thanks for keeping us entertained. That was phenomenal to watch.
No worries. Glad he's enjoyed it.
That was absurd. Thank you very much, brother. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too, boys.
And JP, I think we've got our race winner as well, Stefan Lawrence, and then we'll have a sub step in for Darren Burgess.
Yeah, we have. Stefan, welcome into the booth, young sir. How are you?
Oh, yeah, after a long day at work, not too bad, doing an hour race.
Yeah, well, it was fairly comfortable towards the end after, of course, Owen made his own little mistake there. For the last 4 minutes, 5 minutes, I think, for you at the end of the day. Listen, I've got to ask you something. Was you racing, or was you just trying to open up the gap? Because I said that you guys at the beginning were just trying to open up a gap and not actually race each other.
So the first lap, I was going to send it on him. And then I'm like, nah, he's my teammate, better not. So, and I knew he's quicker. I always know he's quicker than me. So I was like, I'll stick behind him for the first stint. And then, obviously, if we get a bit of gap, I'll try and see if I can give him a run for his money. And, jumped him in the pits. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to hold him up. I'm going to try and do what I can to keep this spot. So, because we had a 5 second gap between me, him, and then there was third place?
Yeah, it was. It was about 4 to 5 seconds, I think, as well. But I tell you what, though, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it back because their battling was absolutely incredible. But for you now, what's it like just for you? Because did you sit there in your rear view and you saw Owen Coleman doing more pirouettes than a ballerina there at one point? Did you sit there and think yes, or did you think oh?
It was. I actually thought it was my fault. I thought because I struggle on the last two corners. He was a lot stronger on the last two corners than I was, and I noticed that on like lap 2, I'm pretty sure it was. So I thought I broke a little too hard, and then he's just tried to like miss me or misbraked or something, and then spun out. I thought it was my fault, to be honest, but after that, I kind of just had a bit of breathing room and just went, right, let's just try and save a little bit of petrol in the motor vehicle, and hopefully just pray to God for that white flag to come a little earlier.
Yeah, well, it definitely did there, sir, as well. We were keeping an eye on the Dutch and Burgess battle. We have just seen you go over the line. Sorry we missed it live, but you'll understand when you watch it back there, buddy. But look, Stefan, awesome victory here as well. Well done for you. Took the win by about 10 seconds. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
I just want to thank all the boys at Riot. Rankin would know. No comment. I'd just like to thank our sponsors, Bliss Homes, that likes to build homes with holes in it, Mark Hughes Foundation, Gaming Gear Direct, Kart FX, and my personal one, Jason Cassar, Floor Sanding. I'd also like to say a big personal thank you to my boss, Team Reddit. Not Team Reddit, Dean Reddit, as he's just sold me his pedals, and I wouldn't have won them without him today.
Awesome stuff there, Scott.
Hashtag Team Reddit.
Team Reddit.
Yeah. Great job there, buddy. Well done, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Easy then. I'll be there.
Take care, man. Right, there we go, Scotty. I believe we have got a representative from SLM in the booth with us.
Yeah, we do indeed. It'll be Matt Keane taking the, shall we say, what do they call it? Spokesperson duties for SLM here this evening. Unfortunately, Darren Burgess not able to join us. What was the conversation like between, I imagine, obviously, knowing a little bit about your team structure, that Darren would have had a few very helpful voices in his ear. Was there ever a call of shut up, let me drive, or did he have that one completely under control?
So it's the voice behind the driver tonight, but no, Darren actually doesn't have a mic at the moment, so Darren wasn't even in the chat. We actually crew chiefed him through text tonight. we had poor Andrew and Jacques with myself getting a bit excited and Nathan getting excited in the voice chat. So unfortunately distracted Jacques a bit, and he had a little mishap. But Darren was copying text after text after text about what's going to happen, what he's got to do, and where he's weak and where Dutchy was strong. So, but Dutchy's got some balls, doesn't he? Going for a move in that sector of that track. But
he got one lap to have a crack, so I mean, you got to have a crack at every corner in the last lap of the race. When you only get one lap, you've absolutely got to send it. In terms of things, would you maybe necessarily say that was probably a good thing that Darren wasn't actually on voice comms tonight?
Most definitely, Scotty. To be honest, there was a bit of excitement with the way it was going because we knew the Beamer was not going to be the best car, but it's a car that he wanted to have a go in, and it's just more hats off to Dutchy how that was done so cleanly, and Dawson as well. Just the racing there was phenomenal, absolute clean. It was unfortunate with Madry. Darren was a little bit. He shot a message to and just asked was it him, and unfortunately I think it was just a bit of a bounce off the inside curb from Madry and a little touch, but he was trying to keep as much space for everybody as possible.
I mean, obviously, like I said, JP and I disagreed on that one. Like, my end result, my mindset on it is I think Magri was expecting him to be a half a car width wider, which we would normally, but it's the racing line. You're both fighting over the same piece of real estate. There's nothing in it at the tail end of things. You received a few excitable text messages from Darren since. What's the mood like that you've been able to assess out of him since the race?
pretty excited. But it's also more about him getting a mic for next round. So there's been a lot of talk about mics and stuff, and we're doing a GoFundMe now within the team.
So, JP, I think I'm quite confident in saying we'll reserve a couple minutes prior to next week's the next round of the GT4 to actually talk to Darren in person, just so we can get that one out, mate.
Yeah.
Obvious.
Oh, I do want to have a word with him there, because Matty, was you telling him that he was leaving the door open in 12? Like he could have got picked off like a banana from a tree at that point with that door he was leaving open at some points.
Yeah, we knew the door was open, but with the Beamer, with the way it gets the drive off, he needed that wider turn to get the drive to try and cover up the strength of the Mercedes. But it was all a matter of if one of them had the balls to stick the nose in, that was when it was going to be a struggle. And Dutchy, unfortunately for Darren, had the nose to put in there.
Told you, Scotty, he needed that rotation off that banging. Check me out. I do know what I'm talking about. Come on.
Debatable.
Oh,
we'll find something.
We'll find something crying about it. You know what I mean? Gee whiz, Batman. But there we go.
Finally, Matty, what's the sponsors that make it possible for SLM? We'll wrap this one up for you.
Okay, so the sponsors for SLM is just myself, as well as we have brought on the best quality sim racing clubs around in Suit Speed. If you guys are looking for really, really good quality sim racing gloves and apparel, they have the best around, and it's suitspeed.com, and you can use the code SLM for a 10% discount.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you very much, and pass on obviously the congratulations to both of us here in the booth, because that really lit up our night and made JP's coffee taste a little bit sweeter.
No worries, boys. Thanks very much.
All right, JP, that is going to about wrap us up. That was a cracking way to finish a round. And in terms of things, the championship, Coleman was looking comfortable on the way in. 5th place, probably good enough to at least accelerate him away at the top. And will still hang on to the championship lead, albeit Andrew Dutch is his main rival, finished 2nd when he finished 5th. We'll see how that affects the points next time out. Chris Pellet didn't have a great night, was sitting in 3rd in the championship on the way in here tonight. Daniel Magri was in 4th, and we'll step a little bit back, and Jacob Hughes was 5th. Didn't have a great night either, ladies and gents. GT4 racing now concluded. JP, GT3 UK racing is that's in the morning by the sounds of things.
Well, it's a little bit later on for us up here in the UK, but yeah, in about where are we at the moment? It's nearly 11:30. At about 7:45 later on, we have got the GT3 UK series. They're coming from Road Atlanta, so check out that one a little bit later on as well. But if you are watching on the Premier Endurance YouTube channel or the JPB YouTube channel, hit a like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That would be absolutely amazing for both of us as well. And don't forget, guys, as well, we do respond to comments. So if you got a comment that you've watched it back and you love it, or you know Scotty was wrong, come on, you know, you can put that down in the comments and I will respond.
Untrue. No, the fans are going to back me up here, JP. The fans are going to absolutely back me up.
I'll clip it and stick it on TikTok for you, mate.
Send that one my way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. On behalf of Virtual Motorsport Mentor, on behalf of Gamer Gear Direct, it's been a pleasure to bring you the Premier Endurance League GT4 round number 4 from Hockenheim. Keep your eyes out for Road Atlanta from the UK side of things in just a couple hours. Other than that, enjoy your weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you sim racing sometime soon.